Dear folks of all identities, last year I had so much fun collating and sharing with you a small list of incredible people and projects who have taken what we often consider to be hard sciences like natural sciences, engineering, maths, and so on, and combined them with something a lot of us associate with softer textile and fiber arts such as knitting, crochet, braiding, lace making, and so many others. So I thought we would start the year by sharing another such small collection of interesting and amazing people. If you watched the last video, don't worry, I'll leave links below if you haven't. We finished by talking about Finnish mathematician Susanna Heikkilä, who was able to visualize and classify mathematical structures that had not been classified before by using crochet as a model. This is not the first time fiber arts have come to the aid of bright researchers, though. I said. Back in 1885, Scottish chemist Alexander Crumb Brown published a paper titled On a Case of Interlacing Surfaces, where he had used knitting as a way of exploring and potentially demonstrating the way different surfaces can intertwine with each other. But it seems like no discussion about crafty scientists is complete without mentioning Elisabetta Matsumoto. Matsumoto is a physicist who, along with her research group, studies the topological properties of knit materials. Or in this case, how the different stitches in knitting can create many different surfaces with different properties, depending on how they are arranged and interlaced. Some of their work include what they call jammed knitted fabrics, or fabric that is initially stiff but softens with additional stress applied to it. One of their more recent papers that was published in Nature in 2024 discusses not just how such knit fabrics and materials work, but also suggests a plethora of different applications such science may be relevant for, such as wearable electronics, specifically enhanced materials, and engineered tissue built specifically for where it needs to go. These are all areas of research where the flexibility of knit fabrics compared to woven could potentially be a game changer. This is incredibly interesting, both as potential prosthetic materials, but also as supportive garments, such as a knitted glove they demonstrate, where a stiff stockinette supports the wrist joint, while the much more flexible seed stitch provides flexibility to the thumb. It may be a relatively simple example, but it demonstrates the kind of thinking that can be applied, perhaps even in very different materials, to future models and creations. An added bonus is that as they are refining their theory and mathematical models, they are also able to test and validate models by making test knits, or by using their keen instincts as knitters to spot issues with their models early on. Also, I just like seeing knitting in this structured and methodological presentation, quite unlike how I am used to seeing knitting in other settings. One fellow creator that was mentioned multiple times when I asked for who your favorite crafty sciencey person was the amazing Engineering Knits. And if you haven't seen her work already, you're in for a treat. As the name suggests, there is engineering and there's knitting, often in happy unison or with other shenanigans. One of my personal favorites is one where she talks about how computers would not exist without fabric and textile history. And another is a delightfully whimsical process of building a sweater unraveling machine so that it would be easier to scavenge yarn for projects from knitted thrift store sweaters. User T. Rose's 1959 is one of the people who sings engineering knit's praises, with a special emphasis on how the engineering training, skills and mindset can be adapted for knitting by adapting tools and materials to reduce strain and fatigue. Then also just can confirm, when you have a brain that just wants to try to improve things and see if you can make a hobby less taxing on your body, it just doesn't really turn off. It is just continually running in the background. I know that I've told the following story once before on this channel in a previous video, but I think this story is so amazing that it bears repeating with some extra details and context. Some of the Aymara indigenous women of Bolivia work together with Dr. Franz Freudenthal to hand weave tiny medical devices that help children born with congenital heart disease. As we are getting born, our bodies have to adapt from getting oxygen through the placenta and the pregnant person's blood to breathing air on our own. But the oxygen concentration in the fetus's blood is less than half the concentration most of us will have once we start breathing our own air. To do this, we have evolved to have this little valve in our heart called the patent ductus arteriosus, and this is a little oxygen concentration sensor. Once the infant is born and starts breathing on their own, this patent ductus valve is supposed to close, and from then on out we are only able to breathe air to get our oxygen needs met. But as you might imagine, in some infants, this closure doesn't happen as it should at birth. And as a result, the infant is unable to get enough oxygen circulating through their bodies, leading to congenital heart disease. This is especially a problem in high altitude regions, such as Bolivia, where oxygen concentrations in the air is lower than closer to sea level. Bolivia is also a poor country, so they could not purchase expensive medical devices from overseas to treat their struggling children. And the solution was as elegant as it is ingenious. Dr. Freudenthal works with indigenous Bolivian Aymara women who are skilled weavers, and they use a special nickel titanium alloy called nitinol, a metal that has shape memory and is very flexible. With nitinol, the women weave tiny metal nets that almost look like little top hats in a variety of sizes. They can be collapsed down to fit through a baby's very, very small veins. When the surgeon reaches the patent ductus valve, they release it and it expands to its final shape, effectively blocking the vent and repairing the issue. This simple yet elegant technology has been enormously successful and has already sold over 7,000 implants. In time, the company hopes to donate 1 implant for each implant they sell, but it is only possible because these Aymara women are such skilled weavers, trained from they were very small children, and they have the dexterity and expertise at their fingertips that so far no machine has been able to replicate. For some honorable crafty scientist mentions that are not individual people or specific projects or something like that, I do also want to talk about this paper from 2025, where researchers had some skilled knitters do a crochet session and then measure their attention and brain functions after. As the crafty among us may suspect already, they did find that using our fine motor skills does have a positive effect on attention. Not only can working with our hands improve attention, but it can also reduce our stress and cognitive abilities. An example of this was another study from 2021 where researchers taught 16 volunteer cancer survivors to knit. Cancer survivors often have a brain fog and other cognitive challenges that are collectively called chemo brain, but over the course of just 8 weeks, the researchers found improvement in cognitive skills and a reduction in the patient's perceived stress. For a more upbeat craft and science overlap, we also have the book Engineered Tatting Designs by rocket scientist Mike Leon. This book has been recommended and making its round in our Discord community more than once. I haven't had the opportunity to leaf through one myself yet, but based on the positive feedback from the tatters in our community, this looks like a gem for any tatting curious, hello, craft explorer. Also, the cover is a hoot, 10 out of 10, no notes. Lastly, in this little exploration of crafty science shenanigans, I want to give one last honorable mention to temperature blankets, scarves, and other kinds of projects like that. I just love seeing new iterations and versions of these projects. They are such a great example of citizen science and craft skills and visualization and getting involved and paying attention by doing the thing. And yeah, I love them so much. And the color schemes and patterns are just so, so good. Truly a chef's kiss. But yeah, with that, I wish you a very merry, happy new year and welcome to 2026. Or whenever you are actually watching this in the great, incongruous, anachronistic time-traveling machine that is the internet. A very special thank you goes out to our patrons who help me to continue what I'm doing. They also, incidentally, help our less financially fortunate community member continue to access my videos for free. Not that I have any intention of putting them behind a paywall, but it is in large parts due to their help that I can continue to do research and make videos like these. So, thank you. I am so ready for 2026 and I have so many ideas that I just want to make and try to make for you, and I don't even really know where to start. So we'll just start in one end and see how it goes, and as always there will be a plethora of videos that I don't have time to get through that I will try to push to 2027, but we shall see. For now, it is a new year, a new time, a new chance to try to make some of the things on my projects that I want to do list. But in any case, I hope you have a very good start to the new year, and I shall see you again soon. Bye. Aymara? Can I hide cords from you, madam? No cords here. Why are you so dusty?